Well, would you look at that, huh? A brand new Rayman game is gonna be coming out, and if everything goes according to plan, we will be seeing it next year. Now, if you guys weren't in the know, earlier this week it was Rayman's birthday, so let me just say, happy birthday to Rayman. I know I'm a bit late, but I was busy. But what also happened was the Rayman Alive event, which, if you don't know, it's basically like the Nintendo Direct for Rayman fans. So we got new fan games, you got DLC for Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends and all this other cool stuff. It was amazing, alright? I know I'm going a little bit off script, but my favorite thing that I saw was the new Rayman 3 Re-Advanced, remake, or rather remaster is what I should be calling it. I did always want to kind of tackle those 2D Rayman games that were on the GBA, the Game Boy Color, and DS, so the fact that that's going to be coming out next year is going to be really exciting, so can't wait to play that, But the most important thing that we got was towards the end of the event, where we got a special message from Ubisoft themselves, more specifically from Ubisoft Montpellier, in which one of the developers as well as the composer for Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends basically came on to give their thanks to the fans and keeping, the Rayman franchise alive for as long as they could. And because it's the 30th year anniversary, they also announced that they were going to be sharing a lot of behind the scenes stuff and a lot of concept art and a bunch of stuff that we've basically have not seen before, which is great. But one of the things that they basically reconfirmed for us is that a Rayman game is in development, which is something I already talked about on the channel. They've talked about how they're making a AAA Rayman game right now, and we've basically known about that for a few months. But they did say that we shouldn't expect anything too soon. We aren't going to be seeing anything in probably a few weeks or even a few months. We might have to wait until next year to finally be getting news on what the new Rayman game is gonna be, which I'll talk about briefly in a second. But yeah, other than the fact that they showed up on the event to kind of give their thanks, it was just really special to see. And another cool thing that happened is the Rayman Twitter account, the official one, is finally being used again. I think this is the first time they've made a tweet on that account in like 4 years, so it's been a long time coming. So this is how they're basically kind of starting to kick things into gear with Rayman following the next year and stuff like that, and it's going to be really exciting to see. Now I'll leave a link to the Rayman Alive event in the description for you guys to go check out. But besides all of that, we need to talk about the brand new Rayman game that's coming out. Now, in my last video, we did look into how Ubisoft was looking for new people to work on the Rayman brand. And one thing that did stick out for me was the fact that they were looking for a 3D gameplay animator. And upon seeing that did make me speculate, thinking that they could be remaking one of the old Rayman games, or they could be making a Rayman 4. But thanks to this tweet from Wario64, we can see that they are working on a Rayman remake. And while it doesn't have a title, we can see that it is called codename Steambot. But the biggest thing is at the bottom of the tweet, where it basically says that Ubisoft does have plans for a Rayman 4, but it all depends on the success of the Rayman remake. And looking at the article itself, it doesn't really have too many things to talk about. It's basically rehashing some of the things I mentioned earlier, but there is one important thing towards the end of the article where it says that if Steambot succeeds, then Rayman 4 could come out towards the end of the decade. Now this is great, all of this is sounding all well and good, honestly, knowing that they are working on Rayman. We actually have confirmation of it this time that they are working on a brand new Rayman game. It is really great to hear that now. But one thing I do want to talk about is the remake and what they could be possibly remaking. Now, originally I had thought that they could maybe remake Rayman 1 possibly. Because Rayman 1, it's a good game, but it's very outdated in some cases. It's very hard, like it can be really unforgiving. So I could see how a remake can possibly benefit it by making it just a tad bit more easier for new players, and just modernize it in a way that it can still be enjoyed by old and new fans. But looking at the code name for this game and seeing that it's called Steambot, I think there is a good possibility that they are working on a Rayman 2 remake instead. Now the reason I say that is because, reason number one. It's called Steambot, and you know, the main enemy in Rayman 2 are the Robo Pirates. So you got Robo Pirates, robots, Steam Robot, you know where I'm getting at. So I kind of think that they may be giving it away that it could be a Rayman 2 remake from that alone. And the second reason is just because, you know, Rayman 2 is just a very popular game. It's highly regarded as one of the best in the series. It's the reason why it's been re-released so many goddamn times at this point. So I really wouldn't put it past them to remake the game and put it on modern hardware. Because right now you can't play it on the PS4, the PS5, you can't play it on the Xbox One. And unless they bring the game over to the Nintendo Switch online service, you can't play it on a Nintendo Switch either. And while I'm aware you could buy the game online on PC, I imagine those versions are pretty outdated by this point and that not many people would be willing to pick them up. So yeah, I think a Rayman 2 remake is what they could be possibly working on. I could be wrong, they could be doing Rayman 1 still. Who knows, they could be doing the whole thing what they did for Crash Bandicoot and just remaster, or rather remake, because we know it's a remake. So, you know, just remake all 3 games. But that is obviously highly unlikely. I really don't think they would go down that route. And I honestly think they're just gonna remake either Rayman 1 or Rayman 2. But I'm leaning more towards Rayman 2 just given what we've seen from the codename for the game. But other than that, that's gonna be it. Once again, happy birthday to Rayman. Go check out the Rayman Alive event, because I really suggest you see all of the great projects that the Rayman fan base has made. I'm very happy to know that, you know, Rayman is basically being resurrected, and whatever game that they decide to release, whether it's a remake of Rayman 1 or Rayman 2, please buy it, because as I mentioned earlier, Rayman 4 will happen, but it all depends on the success of the remake. So if you can, buy the remake. I will buy that remake on my computer, on my Switch, on my PlayStation. I'll buy it as many times as I need to show support for the title. And I suggest you guys do the same too. So save up some money, get a job. If you don't think you could get a job, at least do something to, you know, save up some money, so when the game is finally announced and we have a release date, at least you'll have that money ready so you can buy it. Because I really just want to see Rayman 4 come out at this point, you know. I'm pretty sure most Rayman fans do. And that will literally only happen if we show a lot of support. Rayman 4 is literally in the palm of our hands if we show support. It's literally within our control at this point. I'm gonna just end the video off here. When we get more news, I'll talk about it. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.